Okay, so the test has 10 questions. And of those 10 questions, 3 of them are going to be trig equations. So 3 questions from lesson 7-6. Now, what's different from what you did on the quiz was in degrees. The test, you're going to give your angle measures in radians. My advice to you is have a unit circle so that you can reference it. Also have the axis points labeled. So for example, let's say we have this. Let's say, remember, this is 0 and 2 pi. This is pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and then all the other ones in between. Because before, this was 270, this was 180, 90, and this was 0 and 360. Now, all of your answers, instead of in degrees, you're going to give me in radians. So have your unit circle. You'll still have your 30, and then whatever radian that is, and then the ordered pairs that go with it. So have a picture of the unit circle that you can use to answer 7-6's questions. You're going to have to, yes.
So during this test, we're going to have to be constantly changing our calculator from degrees to radians?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, really, I wouldn't use my calculator to do this. I would just use the unit circle. I would solve the equation and then get your answers from the unit circle. Because if you use your calculator to solve this, it's only going to give you one angle. It's not going to give you the rest of the answers. Does that make sense? So you might be better off just solving the trig equation and then using your unit circle instead of using your calculator for this. But if you use your calculator for 7-6, yes, it must be in radians. And then when you get down here to 8-1 question and 8-2 question, then it has to be in degrees. So just be aware of that. Yes, you'll have to switch back and forth. All right, then.
Specify when?
No, you have to know that.
Okay.
So you just need to know that when you see you're solving a trig equation, you know you're in radians. But again, I wouldn't use my calculator. I would just use the unit circle. I would just leave my calculator in degrees and then use degrees for the whole test. Now, for the law of sines and cosines, there are 4 questions. And again, have the formulas written down. And again, you need your calculator for this. And again, your calculator must be in degrees when you're doing these questions. And then system of equations, you're going to have 2 questions with 2 variables. One of them is going to be a fraction. And then you're going to have 1 question with 3 variables. Now, when this came up, and maybe when I do an example of a 9-1 question, for example, maybe I'll wait till I get there. Somebody said, once I find X, if there was only one answer with that that correct X, do I have to keep going and show you how I plug it in to get Y? Technically, no, as long as you have the work that showed me how you got that first variable. And I'll show you that when I do an example of 9-1. So this is the breakdown. So 3 questions from 9-1, 4 from these 2 sections, and 3 from here. Now, what's different this time, we have 10 questions. They're all multiple choice. They're all 9 points each. This time, the work is only worth 10 points. You need to have work for each question. Now, let's say because this is going to be time intensive, let's say you're running out of time and you get to like number 10 and you don't have enough time to show the work, at least pick an answer choice. I'll probably give you some partial credit, at least for, if you get it right. All right, so, but honestly, you should have work for every question unless you're running out of time. Everybody clear on the breakdown of the test? So the review is there posted. You already have the solutions. However, you still need to do it, show me all the work, and turn it in still. What was due today is 9-1A and 9-1B. So what I can do now is work out any of the questions you guys want to see from 9-1. And if there's no questions on that, I can go back, do anything from 7-6, 8-1, or 8-2. Anybody need to see anything from 9-1?
Miss Corey?
Yes.
Go over question 55 on 9-1B.
55?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so number 55. This was 3 unknowns. 2x plus 6y minus z equals 6, and 4x minus 3y plus 5z equals -5, 6x plus 9y minus 2z equals 11. Now, what you need to do here is you need to be very careful with your handwriting, okay? Because especially when we're dealing with the letter Z, don't think that that's a 2. Now, when you're also solving these, again, don't make the mistake of forgetting which variable you're solving for. So if you're going to solve for x, as you're going through your process, put x equals. Because again, if you put your answer in the wrong order, you're going to get the question wrong. So be very careful. All right. So now, when I have 3 equations and 3 unknowns, I have to decide which equation I want to be my pivot equation. And really what the pivot equation is it's the equation that you're going to add to both of the other 2. And then also what you have to decide is which variable you're going to eliminate. So, anybody have any suggestions on which variable you want to eliminate first and which row you want to be your pivot? Anybody want to suggest, or you want me just to choose it? No suggestions? All right.
I did Y.
You did Y? Okay, that's what I would do too. My C period, they wanted to see X, but X was a lot more work. So I'm going to do Y. And I'm going to choose row 2 to be, actually I'll choose row 3 to be my pivot. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate Y. And row 3 is what I'm going to add to both of them. So I need to add 1 plus 3 and 2 plus 3. However, to eliminate Y, I need to make this Y become, actually I'm going to do row 2 as the pivot. That'll be easier. I'm going to choose row 2 to be the pivot. So I'm going to add 1 plus 2 and then 2 plus 3. All right, so my goal is to make this 3, when I add it to row 1, become a 6. So what I need to do is to multiply row 2 by 2. So this is row 1, 2, and 3. So in order to make the Y cancel, I need to multiply all 4 pieces by 2. So I'm going to get 8x minus 6y plus 10z equals -10. I'm going to add that to row 1. Now, when I did this with A period, I'm going to show you the mistake I made and how easy it is to mess up your whole problem. So when I did this with A period yesterday, when I went to add these two, I said 10 minus 1 is 8. And that messed up my whole problem. So be very careful, and it can happen. This is actually 9z, not 8z, and then here I get -4. Now I'm going to do 2 and 3. So again, now I'm going to multiply row 2 by 3 and distribute it to everything to get it to cancel with row 3. So let me go ahead and write row 3 here. And now I'm going to distribute the 3, and I get 12x minus 9y plus 15z equals -15. I'm going to add the two equations. This is gone. Plus 13z equals -4. All right, so now I need to decide between these two equations which variable I want to eliminate. I think I'm going to try to eliminate x. So I need to make 10 and 18, actually let's do z. I'm going to eliminate z. So I'm going to multiply this first equation by -13. And then this one by 9. So I get -130x. And then 13 times 9, or times -13, gives me -117. And then -13 times -4 gives me 52. Now I'm going to do the red one. 9 times 18 is 162. 9 times 13 is the positive 117z. And then 9 times -4 is -36. Now I'm going to line them up. Add the two equations. Notice the z's cancel. So 162 minus 130 is 32x. And then 52 minus 36 is 16. Divide by 32. And this simplifies to 1/2. Now I need to plug it back in. I just go one step up. So now I'm going to either plug it into here or to here. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to go ahead and do the blue one. So the 10x plus 9z equals -4. 10 times 1/2 plus 9z equals -4. This is 5. Move the 5. Divide by 9. And z equals -1. Now that I have the value of two of the variables, x and z, now I have to go back to the very beginning and plug it in. Now, someone in my other class said, if at this step right here, if there was only one answer choice that had x equals 1/2, they asked me, could I just pick that choice and stop? Yes, you could. If you were confident in this answer and there was only out of your A, B, C, D choices, if there's only one x equals 1/2 in your ordered triple, let's say this was the ordered triple, and then all the other ones had maybe 5, 2, 1, something different. If there was only one answer choice that had the very first variable you solved for, choose it. But if there's more than one answer that has 1/2 as the first part of the ordered triple, then you've got to keep going. Does Does everybody understand what I just said? All right. So, and this is a good standardized test strategy. If you were confident in your work up to this point, and there's only one choice, pick it and then keep moving. If there's time, you could go back and finish the whole problem just to confirm it. Remember, once you get your ordered triple, you can plug it back in to the three equations to see if it works. It must work for all three. If it does, you know that's the correct answer. But let me go ahead and finish the problem just to say that, let's say there's two answers that have 1/2 and -1 for the z. So let me finish it. So now I need to plug it back in and get y. I'm just going to go ahead and take the first equation, the 2x plus 6y minus z equals 6. Again, my x is 1/2. I don't know y. And my z, this is a negative z, so negative, negative. So this is really going to become a +1. 2 times 1/2 is 1. Combine those ones, so I get 6y plus 2. Move the 2. 6y equals 4. Divide by 6, and y equals 2/3. So the correct order triple, and again you're going to write it in ABC order, x, y, z, is 1/2, 2/3, and -1. Any other ones you want to see from 9-1? Can you guys still see the iPad screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I have a question. I
Okay.
have a general question.
Okay.
What's a y arbitrary?
Okay.
Because
Yes.
918 it says answer that.
Yeah. You don't need to give it as y arbitrary. If that occurs, you're just going to tell me those answers will probably either be all real numbers. That would be the only time.
Empty thing.
Yeah, so you don't have to do the y arbitrary. You're either going to, so the solutions for these are either going to be an ordered pair, if it's 2 unknowns, an ordered triple, if it's 3, or it'll be no solution, and that's when the lines are parallel, or it'll be all real numbers, when it's actually the same line.
Okay.
Okay. Aiden, you can't open your quiz to see your mistakes on the 8182? Aiden there?
Yeah, I don't see it.
You don't see it? Okay. I will double check that I opened it for you guys. I'll double check it. And let's see, somebody else had a question. Number 29. Is that the fraction? Yes. Okay, let me do number 29 from 9-1 because you will have a question like this where you have to work with a fraction. So this is number 29. So I have 2x minus 1 over 3 plus y plus 2 over 4 equals 4. And then x plus 3 over 2, x minus y over 3 equals 3. All right, so what I'm going to do whenever I have a fraction is I'm going to clear the fraction by multiplying by the common denominator. So for my first fraction here, my common denominator between 3 and 4 is 12. So I'm going to distribute a 12 to all three pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute. When I distribute it to the first one, it simplifies. So it becomes 4 times 2x minus 1. Then when I go the 12 to this one, the 12 divided by 4 is 3. So then I distribute a 3 to that numerator. And then nothing here simplifies, so the 12 gets multiplied to the whole 4. So let me go ahead and simplify this one. I'm going to distribute. I get 8x minus 4 plus 3y plus 6 equals 48. I need to combine my like terms here. 8x plus 3y plus 2. I need it in standard form, so I'm going to move the 2 over. And now I have standard form. Now I'm going to work with the next one. I'll just do this one in red. My common denominator between 2 and 3 is 6. So when I try to distribute it here, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I'm going to distribute a 3 to the x plus 3. When I distribute it here, 6 divided by this 3 is 2. So I'm going to distribute a 2. And then nothing to simplify here, so the whole 6 gets multiplied. Let me distribute. 3x plus 9 minus 2x plus 2y equals 18. This time I can combine 3x and negative 2x or minus 2x plus 2y plus 9 equals 18. Move the 9. Now it's in standard form. Now I have two equations with two unknowns. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out which variable to eliminate. I think the easiest one to eliminate first is going to be x, because I can get away with just multiplying my second red equation here by a negative 8. If I eliminate y, then what I'm going to need to do is multiply both equations. And the more work I end up doing, the more likely I could make a careless mistake. So again, when I do these, I try to look for the least amount of work, so I have the opportunity or the chance of not making a careless mistake. So the blue one stays. The red one now becomes negative 8x minus 16y equals negative 72. The x's cancel. This becomes negative 13y, and then 72 or 46 minus 72 is negative 26. Divide by negative 13, and y equals 2. It's important that you show what this is, because if you pick in your answer choice, you pick the one that has, remember it should be x and then y. Once we solve for x, we're going to see it's 5. If you were to pick this, you'd get it wrong. Okay? We need it as x and then y. So far we found y. Now I need to take this y, plug it back in. Now, I could plug it back into one of the beginning fractions, but it's a lot easier to plug it into one of the equations where I cleared the fraction. So I'm going to plug it into this one right above here. I could also do it into this one, or go back to the beginning. If you go back to the beginning, it's a lot more work. So let me just use this one. X plus 2y equals 9. Plug in y. X plus 4 equals 9. Subtract 4. And x equals 5. So the correct answer is the order pair 5, 2. Again, you can take your answer choice and plug it back into the beginning. It has to work for both. If it doesn't, it's the wrong answer. And again, don't pick this one. It's in the wrong order. Any other ones you want to see from 9-1?
Could you do 27, please?
Okay. Okay, x over 2 plus y over 3 equals 4. And then 3x over 2, 3y over 2, 15. All right, so my first equation, my common denominator is 6. So when I distribute it here, this becomes a 3x. when I distribute it here, this becomes a 2y. And then I have to distribute the whole thing, and that's a 24. Over here, my common denominator is 2. The only thing that doesn't have the 2 is the 15. So this stays 3x plus 3y equals 30. So now, when I go to do this, I need to figure out what I want to eliminate. So probably the easiest way for me to eliminate would be to eliminate x, and I'm going to multiply one of my equations by a -1. So let's do this one. And let me erase this. It won't let me. Okay, so let me just rewrite the blue one. So 3x plus 3y equals 30. Distribute the -1. So now I'll add them. That's gone. I get y equals 6. And now what I need to do is take it back and plug it back into one of, it'll be easier to do it either into here or here, but you could go back to the fraction. Let me go ahead and just plug it into the 3x plus 2y equals 24 into this one. And I get 3x plus 2 times 6. 3x plus 12 equals 24. Move the 12. And 3x equals 12. Divide by 3. And x equals 4. So the correct answer is 4,6. So be able to clear the fractions and then work with it. Again, this answer, once you plug it into both of the beginning ones, if it doesn't give you a true statement, you know it's wrong. And again, let's say you're doing this and you're running out of time and you get to this point and figure out y equals 6. Again, if there's only one answer choice that has a 6 in the y spot, pick it and keep going. You don't need to show me this if you're running out of time. Any other ones you guys want to see?
Could you do 53?
53. Okay. X minus 3y minus 2z equals -3. And then 3x plus 2y minus z equals 12. And then -x minus y plus 4z equals 3. Now, another thing is I had a student who emailed me. They couldn't figure out what they were doing wrong. And what it ended up being was they copied down the wrong problem. So again, make sure you're paying attention to details. Write down, copy it correctly. Make sure your writing's clear. I know you're trying to rush, but again, just be careful. All right, I am going to try to eliminate, let's see, I'm going to try to eliminate x. So once I add, in my pivot row, I'm going to say is going to be row 3. So I'm going to add 1 plus 3 and then 2 plus 3. But when I go to do 2 plus 3, I'm going to multiply row 3 by a 3. Again, it really doesn't matter what you try to eliminate. So 1 plus 3, x minus 3y minus 2z equals -3. And then -x minus y plus 4z equals 3. That cancels. I'm left with -4y plus 2z equals 0. And then over here, row 2, let me just rewrite it. And now I'm going to distribute a 3 here. So then this becomes negative 3x, negative 3y, plus 12z equals 9. Again, the x cancels. This becomes negative 1y plus 11z equals 21. So now I have to decide, what do I want to eliminate, y or z? I think I'm going to eliminate y. I'm going to multiply this equation by a negative 4. So I'll rewrite this one. And then I'm going to distribute negative 4. So it becomes positive 4y, negative 44z, and then negative 84. I'm now going to add the two equations. And I end up with, that's gone, negative 42z equals negative 84. Divide by negative 42, and z equals positive 2. I now need to take that positive 2 and plug it into one of these. I'm going to do this one. Got it equals 0. It's pretty simple, I think. So negative 4y plus 2z equals 0. Take the z, put it here. Negative 4y, 2 times 2. Negative 4y plus 4 equals 0. Move the 4. Negative 4y equals negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Y equals 1. So x, y, z. So far I found y and I found z. I still need to go back and find x. So now what I'll do is I'll take this and go back to the beginning and plug it into one of these. I'm going to do the first one. X minus 3y minus 2z equals negative 3. X minus 3 times 1 minus 2 times 2 equals negative 3. X minus 3 minus 4. X minus 7. Oops, add 7. And I get x equals 4. So my ordered triple is 4, 1, 2. Pretty good on that one. Any other ones? All right, so again, have yourself organized. Have your unit circle. Have all of your law of sines and cosines formulas written down. Remember, when you're doing tangent, it's y over x. If you want to already have the ordered pairs divided, so you know which one equals root 3 and which one equals root 3 over 3, it might save time. So have that ready. I know 7-6 was a long time ago. I will look into finding out why you can't see your quiz answers. I'll make sure that the 8-1, 8-2 quizzes are opened up so you can see them. Any other questions or concerns? So again, as you're doing the homework, the review, or anything that you're working on, if you have questions, send me an email. I'll work it out and send it back to you. Again, your test is Thursday. Now, on Thursday, what I'm going to do is you're going to get 50 minutes for the test, but I'm going to open up the Zoom meeting. Probably I'll start opening it up 5 minutes early, just so that probably around 9:15ish, just so everybody could be into the call and ready to start the test right at 9:20. If we do start like 5 minutes late, you'll just go 5 minutes into your break. But you'll get 50 minutes from the time that you start the test. And then again, remember to upload your work. There'll be a homework assignment that you're going to have to turn your work into. Any other questions? No? All right. is there anybody else that couldn't get into the quiz besides Aiden? I'm gonna go ahead and check that out now while you're on the call. If nobody else has any questions, I know we still have 10, we're up till 10:10, so we have about 3 minutes. Any other questions? All right, let me check. All right, so then that's all I have. So if you don't have any other questions, that's it. You can go ahead and exit the call. Again, study, turn in the review, even though you already have the answers. And I'm gonna check to see the settings on that quiz to see why you can't see that. And that is it.